Welcome to my review on the VEVOR MMA 200 arc welder or stick welder. You can see it actually has three settings. One is for stick welding, lift TIG, and hot stapler. The hot stapler function is for like bumpers on cars. You know, you can get your bumper got cracked. Now you can just put the hot staples in and it will actually fix that. And from my experience, it works pretty well. I've used this machine quite extensively. I'm no good at stick welding. I am new to stick welding. I mostly use my MIG welder, my Harbor Freight titanium. But this is a very nice little welder for the price. This is the biggest in their line. They also have a 140 amp, and I can't remember the other amp. It's a lower one than that, but this is the biggest. It's the MMA 200. It runs off of 110 or 220. So if you want to get the full amperage, you'll have to bump it up to a 240. So let's go ahead and turn on the welder. It does take a second to come on. It's going to flash like that for a moment. And this is a 200 amp welder. It means it runs off of 120 or 240. You can see we're at 60 amps right now. And that's over here on the right. It says current. And we're on stick welding. Now we could put this up to 120, but to get the full 200, we're going to have to hook this up to a 240 outlet. We also have some features over here like the hot start, arc force, and VRD on. And the way that you get to those, for example, the hot start, you'll hit this button and then you change the amperage. So in this case, for hot start, this is to keep you from sticking whenever you start welding, and it keeps your rod from sticking to the piece. So you want your hot start to be a little hotter than your welding amps. So in this case, let's say let's say we're at 60 amps we're welding at. We just hit this button and we'll put it up to like 80. That way it momentarily shoots your amperage up to a higher amperage until the welding starts. And arc force is pretty much the same thing. This is for like the closeness of the weld, so if it notices if you're too far away from the piece, it will adjust the amperage accordingly to keep you welding. And once again, we do that by pushing this button and setting this setting right here. You can notice that it's about as loud as any other welder I've ever used. I mean, it doesn't bother me. A lot of air getting pushed through here. I think one of the things I don't like about this welder is this half price thing. It makes it sound like it's cheap. But this is a very good welder. It's very nice. I'm no good at stick welding. I'm actually very new to stick welding. You can see that your on and off button is protected. And we have another fan in the back. It's like a computer fan. And I usually use this MIG welder, this Harbor Freight titanium. But this is actually a pretty nice welder. Let's take a look at the leads, and you actually get a pretty nice grounding clamp. I mean, you can see the copper band in there. Look at all that. That's nice. And if we compare that to the Harbor Freight, which is a more expensive, it comes with this little cheap grounding clamp. That's not that nice, but it does the job. But I prefer clamps like this. I mean, this is something you'd see on higher end welders. For the price, I mean, that's great. That's really great. Now, as for my welds, yeah, I mean, Yeah, I've burnt through a lot of things. I'm using 6011 rod, or it's just not, you know, don't don't judge this by my welds. Um, yeah, I mean, I've just tinkered with it. Um, I think for this thin of material, I shouldn't have used 6011. I don't know. I'm not a stick welder expert. Here we go. We got the stinger. You can see that one side is copper, so it's getting um, amperage pushed through it, and then the other side is plastic. Most people, I guess, prefer to have metal on both sides. I guess that's better for conductivity, but for me, it hasn't been an issue. It doesn't feel too bad. It hasn't gave me any troubles with the welds that I've done, if that's what you want to call what I've done. Okay, so you also get this plastic welder. You can see here. It's actually pretty nice. Feels good. And the way they give you a bunch of these hot staples, they call them wave staples. You can see the waviness of them there, and that's what you sink down into the plastic. This is probably one of the greatest features of this welder, is that it does that. And as you can see, you would take one of those staples and put it down in the wand, I guess you can call it, or the stinger, and then you'll hold this button in, and then it'll glow bright red, and then you'll stick it in the plastic that you want to weld back together. This is really handy. Let's show you where it goes. So the wand or the stinger for the hot stapler will go right here. This is where it goes. You just plug it in there, and then you'll set this down to the hot stapler setting. This is a fairly light welder. I mean, this is a great welder. For the price, I'm surprised. It feels nice. It feels like it's going to last. Is this something that a person could work with every day? Of course not. But this is something that for the occasional repair to your lawnmower deck, or you want to fix, let's say, a go-kart, or your mini bike, and things like that around the house. This is definitely a around the house type tool. This is not something I want to put through its paces, but it does feel, the knobs feel quality. I mean, it feels good. It's not cheap at all. I mean, it doesn't feel cheap at all. Um, I like it. The power cord is actually pretty thick. It's real nice. It comes with an adapter for you to plug in your 120, and I'll show you that right now. Okay, so here's the adapter. You'll plug in your welder to this, and then you'll plug this into your wall outlet. It doesn't come with a wall outlet. You'll have to buy one. But this is a pretty nice cord. It's pretty thick, pretty heavy duty. Feels good. Feels like it'll last. Nothing cheap about it. And also, it comes with the instruction manual. And yes, it does have some grammatical errors. And here we go. The different ones, the 140, the 180, 200. My recommendation would be to go ahead and get the 200. And you can see here's some specs if you want to look at that. It talks about extension cords and so on and so forth. It's actually got a pretty decent user manual if you want to go through it. I'm just a hands-on kind of person, and I guess now I'll save the best for last. We'll get to watch me weld a little bit and get a good laugh out of that. Once again, I'm not a professional stick welder. This is actually my first stick welder. And that's it. That's my review for the VEVOR. Would I recommend it? Oh yes, 100%. There's a lot of welders online, but VEVOR seems to be a company that's around and stands by its products. It's everywhere. You've seen this name, I'm sure. And I wanted to buy from somebody that would stand by their product, and I think VEVOR will do that. It's a very nice little machine, and definitely worth the money. Check out the link in the description below to check out this product, and also check out the 5% discount code on VEVOR's website. It can be used for anything, not only this welder. They got thousands and thousands of products, commercial products, home products, lawn and garden, whatever you think about it, they got it. Check out their website, check out VEVOR, and that's it. This is not sponsored by VEVOR. And now on to the welding. Cool. Y'all like that cool?